Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Sam Spade of the Midnight Devils to the program tonight. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Lance. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. We're just talking off microphone there for a moment. You mentioned it's hot in both our areas. COVID's going crazy in both our areas. But some good news, Midnight Devils got their second album coming out, correct?
Yeah, we are in the process of, we're getting really close to releasing it, putting out a single. It's being mixed and mastered right now in Chicago as we speak. And so we're just kind of waiting for the right time. You know, nobody really knows what the right time is these days, but we're waiting for the right time to put it out.
Yeah, and this is Chris Steinmetz up at Stonecutter Studios. It's his mixing and mastering?
Yep, Chris Steinmetz is doing it. He's the guy, one of the biggest studios in Chicago. And as you may or may not know, I'm looking at your profile picture right now as Ace Frehley. He did the engineering on Kiss Revenge.
Really? I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, so super Kiss nerdy, and it's really cool. Kind of an honor, a big honor for us, yeah.
Now, this is going to be your second album. The old adage is you have your entire life to do your first album, and then you come to the second album. You know, how did the second album come about and everything? Was the first?
Yeah, that was a scary thing for us because coming out of the first one, we had a fairly good success on it. Sold a bunch of copies, did a ton of touring off of it. And so we were nervous going into it, going like, can we write good songs? Can we follow up what we did and push a little farther than we did on the first record? And we had talked to Chip. Chip's Enough is the guy that's producing it. Yeah. From bass player of Enough's Enough, sings now. And we brought the songs in, and first he's like, all right, I love these songs. I go, cool, we got over the sophomore slump here. And the songs were really written about what we experienced and what we saw as a hardworking rock band on the road. It was really cool. We thought we were going to have to write it in a hotel on tour, but because of the pandemic, we actually had the time to kind of do it on our own.
Cool. Now, were the songs mostly like brand new songs for this album? Do you have any leftovers from the first album?
I believe they're all brand new songs off this record. There was maybe one or two that we had written right at the end of the first album that didn't make it on.
And of course, it's coming out on Pavement Music. Does it have a title yet that you're willing to divulge, or are we waiting on that?
There is a title, but I can't say it yet.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to push that.
No, it's good. And the weird thing about with the Midnight Devils is it usually comes to like a vote or an all-out battle royal in the van as we're traveling down the road as to what wins as a title or a working track list, everything like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna say. With track listing, you pay very close attention to sequencing, correct?
Yes, and much like a live set, you want it to have kind of an ebb and flow and have low spots and high spots and end strong and begin really strong. Right. We call the first two tracks like your power tracks and then the single, and just the way the band's used to do it, you really pay close attention, exactly like you said.
Now, I read though, when it comes to your live set, a lot of times you guys go in with no set list.
Yeah, we don't ever write set lists. It's always a feel, and you got to feel out your audience and feel out your crowd. And we call them out on stage as we're going. It's usually the guys have no idea what I'm going to call out when it happens. So it's a lot like Paul Stanley, where he'll announce the title of the song, and that's how they know what we're going to play.
Very, very cool. Now you are the singer, bass player, and manager of the band, so you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, and I think, especially with the Midnight Devils, it's all about a learning experience. In this day and age in the music industry, it's about what you can do, without bringing in as much outside help as you can. What can you learn and grow your skill set so that you don't have to hire other people? You can just kind of knock out all projects with just right at home.
Yeah, very cool. What's more important, what you learn to do or what you learn not to do?
Absolutely, what you learn not to. Yeah. Then that's you learn what to do after many, many mistakes, and doing it the wrong way for many years. You learn exactly what not to do, and you fix it.
Absolutely. I remember talking with Marty McCoy of Bobaflex many years ago, and I said, if you could give a young musician, any advice, what would you tell them? And he said, don't sign anything.
see, it happened to us too. We signed at the same same agency as Bobaflex, and the guy, it was M7 out of Florida, and I'm not, scared to talk about this. I don't know why I haven't brought it up more, but we thought, Bobaflex is on this agency. It'll be great for us too. And the guys totally screwed us and just took our money and scammed us out of $3,000 worth of money and didn't book one show for us.
If I remember right, the story he told me, they hired a lawyer and he ended up more or less coaching the lawyer how to get out of the contract. He's like, I can do this myself, you know, so smart guy.
Yeah. And I was like, that was kind of my thing, is like, we're getting to the point where do I need to hire an entertainment lawyer? Do I go after this guy? What do I do? Do you just chalk it up to inexperience and that you lost some money down the line? I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like you learn who to trust, who not to trust, and a lot of people you don't trust, and they're just kind of coming at you for a payday.
Yeah. You've worked with a lot of veteran talent, though. I mean, you mentioned Chip's Enough, who's producing the second album. You went out on tour with the Choir Boys. You did a couple dates with Yngwie down there in Florida. You must have gained a ton of knowledge in talking with those people. Yeah,
and really the one that has pushed us so hard and that I can just sit there and listen to what he has to say is Chip. He's been successful in his career for 30-40 plus years, and I love just sitting there and listening to his stories. And that was especially true when it came to producing the record and bringing songs in where he kind of trim the fat or make these songs better and give them this really cool sound that I didn't expect to hear. And kind of listening to the rough demos, I'm like, it gave it that Chicago power pop sound. And just listening to Chip, being on the road with Chip is phenomenal. And those guys, you know, they put on a great show night after night. They were on the biggest tour. You know, I think the biggest tour that 2021 is going to see, the Faster Pussycat Enough's Enough tour. And it was cool. Same with the Choir Boys. Like that was a mind-blowing experience, kind of getting to know them and sitting there at like a bar talking to Spike and the guys and just being like, well, we watched these videos of you when we were 16 playing at Donington. Now we're hanging out with them. It's really cool and surreal. I don't take it for granted at all.
I was into the Choir Boys from day one. I remember getting that first CD in here at 7 o'clock and Roses and Rings and She Don't Love Me Anymore. It's like, oh my God, this is phenomenal stuff.
Dude, and the whole thing with that tour was it had to do with our management again. Is that I asked our management, I go, could you get us on that tour? He's like, I don't know. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself. I don't need this manager to do it. I'm gonna contact them. And we got on the tour. They brought us out. They said we had like a week, maybe 3 days, and they go, we need you in Salt Lake City in 3 days to be on this tour. And I had to go to my boss and be like, I'm really sorry I have to do this, but we have to go out on this tour. And we didn't know how the band was going to be that first night in Salt Lake City. They blew the doors down. I'm just like, oh, this is one of the best bands I've ever seen.
Yeah. How was it with Yngwie, with those dates down there in Florida?
Yngwie's interesting because you kind of go in knowing that he is a difficult act to work with, right? Yeah, everybody knows how Yngwie is. He was cool to us. He was nice to us. And you just kind of work on Yngwie's time. And whatever he wants, you just kind of work around it and you don't get flustered or anything like that because you know that's just how he is. That being said, like I didn't think that the clubs would be as packed as they were. And the first night we played, there was 400 people. The second night, there was 1,000 people. And I'm just like, man, Yngwie is packing them in. How is he doing this? What is he doing? Bring all these people in. And it was just, you know, the guy is an animal.
I think he's gained almost like a cult following. I mean, I remember seeing him back in the day. God, I'll date myself. 85, I saw him open for AC/DC, and 87, I saw him open for Maiden. And those shows were incredible. Incredible stuff.
And I thought it'd be all dudes in the crowd, and there was equal amount of chicks and dudes and people partying and going crazy. And I was just like, this is great. Yngwie knocking it out of the park every night.
Very cool. You got some fall dates coming up. Hopefully they're going to come to fruition with Enough's Enough. We've been talking about them. Fly High Michelle, I got to throw this in, one of my favorite tunes ever. And Tora Tora on the bill too. That's killer.
Yeah, I got to do a big shout out. A shout out to Chuck at Artists Worldwide. He's kind of our contact with you know, he's a booking agent that is on Christy Crash's label. And he's been helping us out with all these shows. And he just called me the other day. He's like, I'm gonna put you guys back down in Florida. Yngwie wants you again in November. And I was like, perfect, we're there. But he's the one that really is like a link between Chip and Pavement Music and all these shows. So big shout out to Chuck. But working with Tora Tora, we haven't played with them before. Be incredible. Walking Shoes, come on.
Yeah, Amnesia, my favorite track. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I see you're going out next February with Loudness. I mean, the legends right there.
Yeah, we had been scheduled to do that. That tour was supposed to happen probably, I think it's been canceled twice now. as the pandemic rages on, We landed that tour, and I was just like, dudes, we're going out for a month with Loudness. It's going to be the coolest thing. Then it gets canceled, rescheduled, and then they finally pushed it back to February, and we're hoping that absolutely this time it works. And the big thing on the Loudness tour is there's a show at the Whiskey A Go-Go. I think the tour ends at the Whiskey A Go-Go. We've played LA, we've the Viper Room, but we haven't played the Whiskey. So that's the goal.
That's awesome. Kind of funny. I mentioned seeing Inve open for AC/DC. I saw Loudness open for AC/DC. Who Made Who tour, and they were great.
And just seeing those guys, what they do. It's been so long since they've played shows in America.
Yeah. And
they're beyond huge everywhere else except for America.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, staggers the imagination.
I think it's time, and I think it's going to blow every venue up if it happens.
Absolutely, because they're another band that has sort of that cult Yngwie following. The fans that do follow them have incredible passion. So yeah, that's a great boot in the ass for you guys. You know,
everybody remembers them from the Motley tour.
Yeah, and I mean by boot, I didn't mean boot in the ass. I meant kicking the pants. You know, I meant it in a good way.
Right.
But so as far as like recording the second album, with the pandemic raging, were you guys able to get together? Did you sort of defy lockdown rules and everything, or was it sort of pieced together through files like so many are now?
It was me and the guitar player and I, Sniper, Chris Heinlein, he's really the musical director of the Midnight Devils. We lived together in Nebraska, so for us it wasn't tough. We got together in March, earlier, right when we got off tour with the Choir Boys. I was like, we got to get this record done. We got all the songs done. We had a fill-in drummer that kind of sat in with us and played on the demos. This guy named Ronnie Rush did the demos for us. We shipped the demos to our drummer in Chicago so we could get a feel for them. And in March, we drove to Chicago and like rehearsed one time and went into the studio with Chip and just laid them all down.
Nice. Excellent. That's very,
very, it was very rock and roll and very, like it wasn't planned out. It just kind of happened sporadic.
Yeah, awesome. The way it should be, sometimes.
Exactly. Very, very rock and roll. Yeah.
And I've heard that at times, there were bands who had extra time with the pandemic to sort of put everything. And then there are other bands who didn't. And like you say, just put it all together without breaking everything down over and over and almost like over analyzing. And
right.
I swear the bands that did it on the quicker notice are happier, as happy as the album as the ones who were meticulous.
Yeah, and right now I'm starting to think about, okay, well, we've had this album in the can for 6-7 months. Like we need to start thinking about banging another one out. You just don't know, because you don't want to put an album out and be able to not tour on it. And how many bands have you talked to that put out an album in March and it just flopped because nobody could tour?
Yeah,
and that's really.
So there, Sam.
Yeah.
Okay, I lost that last bit about the part of you dropped out on me about putting an album out in March and just nothing happening.
Yeah, we talked to bands. We have bands that they put an album out and then the quarantine hit and they're like, we put out an album for no reason at all. We want to avoid that, and we don't want to sit around on an album for a year either, because a band changes in a year's time. Everything kind of changes. So it's really everything's up in the air, much like everybody else.
Yeah. And music moves at such hyper speed nowadays. It's mind blowing, and the amount of stuff that's out there,
I think you're totally right, though. The quicker, the better. You put it out and you give it that. That's the spontaneity, if you will, and that's the action and the rock and roll. It's not about sitting there thinking about it and overanalyzing it. That it loses the feel and the thrill.
Absolutely. Want to talk about a couple of stories I read about, just to rehear these from you, tours and stuff you've done in the past. This shootout in Kansas.
Oh yeah. Well, early on in our, when we started doing shows with the Midnight Devils, we were playing a lot of really rough bars and house shows and parties, and we were kind of doing it very punk rock style, where we would travel. You'd be like, hey, we're gonna book a show to LA, but we have to find places to play in between here in LA. One of the places we found was like this bar that was a compound in the middle of Kansas. And as we pulled up, it's like there's barns and a stage and a couple different bars, but it's all in this grounds. And as we pulled up, the owner saw our bus and he was wasted. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. Let me go get you paid. And he goes to the barn and digs up a safe, like out of the ground, digs up a safe. And he pulls out all the money and he goes, here's your money for tonight. Have a good show. And I'm like, this is pretty weird, man. This is weird. And we play our show. It wasn't a big crowd. And during the last song, he comes up on stage and he goes, "You guys need to take cover, take cover." We're like, "What?" And we look over and he's having a shootout with some other guy that's like another patron that had wandered onto the compound and wasn't welcome. Him and the guy were having a gun battle, and we were hiding behind our bus for protection.
It sounds like something right out of the Blues Brothers, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, only in Kansas, but I'm sure it happens all over the place.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned, I read on a previous interview or something, that I've never been there. You were in Memphis once. You got to visit Graceland.
Yeah, Graceland was one of the coolest places that I've ever been in my life. I'm a huge Elvis fan, and you probably talk to enough bands where you don't always get time to see stuff. You get to travel. We go to all these cool cities, but you don't always get time to see the attractions. And that's kind of, we could try and make time to stop at least, for a couple minutes and see stuff. We went to Graceland. We were in Memphis, and we were like, we got to stop no matter what. It was $75 to get in. And it was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. And I'm so thankful we took the time to see it, because it's a historical monument to rock and roll, to Elvis Presley, that, not a lot of people get to see. If you're not going there, not a lot of people will just stop. So we saw that. On the last one, we went through Macon, Georgia, and I heard there was a big statue of Otis Redding, and we went down to the dock, to see the statue, and it wasn't there, and we kind of got shafted on that one. Otis Redding wasn't on the dock of the bay in Macon, Georgia.
Oh, darn. Yeah. Well, that would have been cool.
We were there, though. We were there.
Now, as we know, rock and roll, particularly with you, playing bass, singing, being up on stage, is a pretty athletic event. You were a collegiate hammer thrower at the University of Nebraska?
I was. This is cool. You found this out. I did it for 3 years, right out of high school. They had scouted me, and I didn't want to play football because it was just like all I wanted to do was play in a band and travel country, and my dad really pushed me into this. He was really behind me being an athlete, and I wasn't into it that much. But they recruited me to come to Nebraska and play, for the University of Nebraska. I did it for 3 years, and it really, I'm thankful that I did it, because I don't think I would have graduated college had I not been on the athletic team, because they force you to get good grades, and I just wanted to party and stay out all night drinking and hang out with chicks. But with athletics, it was very strict and rigid, and it got me that degree. And I'm thankful for the time. It taught me a lot of good lessons. Being an athlete is dedication and a lot of work. Yeah.
And you've got to be pretty freaking good to have a school like the University of Nebraska recruiting you,
Yeah.
I mean, Big 8 school like that, that's huge.
It was big, and my dad was so proud of you. He's like, my son is a Husker, and that's what every kid in Nebraska, that's what they want, is to become a Husker. So my dad was proud, and I didn't do bad, but I wasn't good enough to really make a career out of it. So it came to a point where the coach was like, you kind of got to decide, do you want to be in a band or do you want to be on the track team? And I decided, I gave this a shot. Let's just really focus on being in a rock band and really put all the eggs in that basket.
Very cool. I have been a lifelong Husker fan. One
of my
favorite. Yeah, believe it or not, boy from Vermont.
Okay.
My parents had some friends from Nebraska when I was very, very small. And I remember when I was, I couldn't have been 3 or 4 years old. They got me a Cornhuskers t-shirt. And I've been a Nebraska fan ever since. Favorite moment was the 62-24 dismantling of Florida in the 96 Fiesta Bowl. I sat there that night with the biggest permagrin on my face.
So that was the cool thing. There's a way off topic, but you would dig it. Being on the Husker track team, you got to do everything that a Husker athlete would do. So you trained, in the stadium, you ate dinner at the coach's table, and you went to, you rode on the bus with everybody, and you wore your Husker gear every day to class, and they gave you all these free clothes and everything. They really took care of you and helped you focus on being an athlete. And it was cool. The experiences were really mind-numbingly cool.
Yeah, very cool. Now, so obviously you've always been athletic, and obviously you keep yourself in shape physically, but with your voice being your instrument as well, with this pandemic and everything, how have you been able to keep your voice in shape? I've asked a number of singers this throughout this whole thing. How have you kept your, that's your muscle,
Yep, absolutely. My interesting way is that I am a DJ. That's what I do for when we're not touring. I DJ. for strippers at a strip club.
Nice.
And that is, you know, we do that every night of the week almost. And so every night of the week I'm up talking for 6.5 hours and really keeping a party going. That's the way you work your voice, is just from projection over and over and over and over. It's 6 days a week.
Sure. Wow, we have a definite kinship here. I was a mobile DJ for like 27 years. Never got lucky enough to play in a strip joint, but did a lot of fun stuff, and it was cool.
Yeah, it is a cool. I started in radio, and when I got I was working classic rock radio. It's when I graduated college. I'm like, this is the greatest job ever. Yeah. The radio station let me go because of budget cuts, just normal radio stuff. Right. And I'd seen an advertisement on Facebook that this club was hiring, looking for a DJ. And I go, well, I think I might be able to try this out. And I went, and the first night, you know, there was 15 chicks dancing around. I drove through a snowstorm to get there. And then you got paid at the end of the night, and everybody was partying, having a blast. I'm like, this is the greatest job ever. I don't know why I wasted so much time in radio. Like, there's no money in radio. There's managers and business guys in suits. They were hanging out with chicks, partying. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But it was sort of losing that job at the classic rock radio station that also sort of pushed you into music more, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. And that was the inspiration for the title of our first record. It was that day that I walked in, you know, wearing a leather jacket, spiked out leather jacket with Kiss on the back, and the manager, the suit dummy guy's like, no, we got to let you go. I'm like, I know more about rock and roll than any guy in here. He's like, doesn't matter, we're letting you go. And so I'm driving home thinking there's got to be something bigger around the corner. And I was like, that's the name of the album right there. So it really it was the push that I needed, and really, and now it's like I get to deal with music on some level every day when I wake up. Either at the club or I worked at a record shop. That's what it is. It's a super music oriented lifestyle.
Cool. You mentioned your dad really supporting you going out to University of Nebraska and everything. Has your family supported you as well with all the music stuff as well?
That's been a tougher hill to climb. My mom always did. She was the one that let us practice in the basement and let us, the first touring band that I had, park the van in the trailer in the driveway. She was always there. My dad's slowly coming around to the fact that I'm not going to have a real job and I'm not going to have, like a normal life. But I called him and I was like, Dad, I think we're going to be touring with this Japanese band for a month. And he's just like, it kind of blew his mind. He didn't really know how to take it, Yeah. And there's another big tour that we're about to announce, hopefully, if COVID doesn't kill it, but it's overseas. And I called my dad and I told him, and I think that was like the moment he's like, okay, this actually is like it's a real job and it's a real career path.
Right. It's happening,
Yeah. My son wears makeup and lipstick, but he's going places. He's going seeing the world.
Exactly. Speaking of dates, you've got some coming up this weekend. Canton, Illinois, the first annual Central Illinois Music Fest. Got to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, that is our good friend Bob Long, who's a huge rock and roll nerd, a huge Kiss fan, and one of the biggest supporters of rock and roll in the Midwest. He's throwing a festival Saturday. It's a 2-day festival. We're in Chicago at Liars Club on Friday, and then we go to Canton, Illinois on Saturday. And there's a bunch of bands like Wild Street and Ecstasy. A bunch of our friends are going to be there. I think it's just going to be an incredible party.
Yeah, sounds like it. I was looking at the lineup. It looks like it's going to be a very, very good time.
And being the first annual, it can only get better from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping, you get the dates going. Do you have any sort of set date for the album to come out, or is that sort of still in flux?
We are looking, we're still waiting on Chris to come back with the mixes. So it's not going to be anytime soon. We have a lot of the other parts done, like the artwork and stuff that we're talking to the music or the video director about putting out a single. So I know that we're looking at putting out a single in November, hopefully before the big tours kind of start rolling out. And then we want to release the album right before, hopefully, the last tour. That's kind of the goal.
Cool. Album will be coming out in November. Once again, it's on Pavement Music, Chips Enough producing it. So that's very, very cool. We look forward to seeing the video. And you mentioned artwork. Did you guys contribute to the artwork, or did you have an outside source to it?
We had a guy. So we had an idea. I had kind of had an idea and I ran it by the guys, and we have a graphic designer in Omaha. I really love to kind of keep things not necessarily local, but not through a big company. So if I can hire somebody, I want to hire a local guy to do our artwork. So that way we're sharing the love worldwide. And it's 1119 graphics. That's the guy. His name's Rico. And I said, okay, I got this idea. Here's kind of the working title. It's going to be, I don't want to give away too much, but this is kind of my ideas. And he came back with the album cover, and then he came back with the single. So we kind of want to put out the single on vinyl. And he came back with like the single artwork as well. And I was like, okay, this is brilliant.
Nice.
And the cool thing with the Midnight Devils is we always wanted to kind of keep that devil theme, but have it with, like the Devils doing normal stuff, like Americana type art.
Nice. And I read you're also hoping to maybe get this album out on some vinyl as well.
Yeah, so even if we only do a single, even if it's only a single, we really want to do something cool and special for our fans and really blow this one out of the water. Since we got all this time to prepare, we really want to put out, I think vinyl's coming back huge. People love vinyl. I love vinyl. Yeah. I'm a huge collector, and I think it'd be great. You always want your band to have a vinyl. We don't have one yet. Let's do it. Timing's right.
Absolutely. Direct us to where we can get all this cool band merch. You've got lighters, you've got hats, and you got t-shirts and stuff like that. Direct us where we can go to get your merch.
TheMidnightDevils.com. So that's TheMidnightDevils.com, and there's a shop in there, and everything that is ordered, I ship out from my house, and I do it all internally. It's not another company that does it. And as you kind of take cues from the guys that inspired you. I love Kiss, Van Halen, all these bands. And so we kind of just started plastering the Midnight Devils logo on stuff that we used and that we like. Sure. So there's all these really cool things that we've kind of created that have the Midnight Devils logo on it, so that no matter what you're into, there's kind of something for everybody in that online shop. And I think people, especially over the pandemic, like you kind of get down, you're like, nothing's happening. And then I see like an order jump in. I'm like, all right, there's still people out there that care and that really love rock and roll, and will go out and support bands. And that's the only way that we're going to fund anything or be on the road, is through our fans buying stuff off our websites.
Definitely. Sam, I always like to end with sort of some fun questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked before. Sound good?
I'm excited. I love these.
You mentioned having a battle royal in the band over like sequencing and album titles and stuff. Give us your favorite old school wrestler.
Ric Flair.
Oh, yes.
Dude, we're huge. We are huge. Jimmy and I are huge wrestling fans. So like we will listen to the podcast for like 6 hours in the van just because we think it's cool, So wrestling podcast. I went out and got a robe that looks like Ric Flair's robe, pink with feathers and everything on it.
Nice. Now, is it the podcast you listen to, is it Busted Open with LaGreca and Bully Ray on Sirius?
No, we listen to Jim Cornette.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Cornette
is awesome. Or the Eric Bischoff podcast. I like that one. That's WCW. That's like right in my time frame.
Yeah, definitely. Flair has been my idol since 1981. My absolute idol.
You're the best of the best, man. The best showman out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Favorite season? Are you a spring, summer, winter, fall kind of guy?
Give me the heat.
All right.
Oh, this heat that we're experiencing right now, I love it. Keep it coming. We shut down touring in the winter. It just can't do it.
Too cold, huh? Give us a food that is better as a leftover to you than freshly made.
That's a good one. I've never been asked that question. I would say pizza. That's too easy though, and I don't really like cold pizza that much. Chinese food.
Okay. Last music you listen to other than your own.
Okay, this is a really good one. I just checked out the new Hardcore Superstar single. Which is really, really good. LA Guns just put out a new single, and Billy Idol. All had new singles come out like either this week or last week.
Yeah, I heard the Billy Idol.
It's really good. The Billy Idol one's awesome.
If you could pick a television show to have a Midnight Devils song placed in, what show would you pick?
Does it have to be a new show or an old show?
Either or.
I'm a huge fan of the TV show Cheers.
Okay.
So I would love that. I've watched every episode of Cheers. So working at a bar, like anytime I get to go back and be the bartender, Sam Malone behind the bar drinking coffee, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Favorite smell?
Favorite smell? Weed that has not been burned yet.
Right. What is a household appliance you can't live without?
A microwave.
All right, definitely.
I don't do any cooking. So it's all microwave.
Give us a memory of something that decorated the walls in your teenage bedroom.
Everything that I have from my teenage years came back, and I still have it. So I have these really cool, like the very first show that my band, my first band, I still have the flyer. The first shows that I went to as a kid, like the first Kiss shows, the first Poison shows, I still have all those. And the one thing, here's the good story on this. When I was a kid and I moved into this place with my parents, the guy that was there left us a whole bunch of Playboys, like old Playboys. That was the first time I ever saw a Playboy, and I hid them from my parents, like up in the rafters of the ceiling. That was the one thing I wish I had back. My parents don't know.
Oh,
I hope they're listening.
Exactly. Do you usually travel heavy or light?
I just switched to traveling light. So we used to pack these big suitcases full of clothes, and doing the Florida runs and like our run out to M3, you couldn't pack everything you wanted to. So it was all just like pack it in one tiny suitcase and go. Don't think about it, just pack it, go. What's
one essential thing other than obvious thing, you know, like picks and guitars and microphones and stuff? What's one essential thing that you always throw in your travel bag?
Socks. Socks is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Leather pants, that's always a good one, and a cutoff shirt. So I've been carrying around this ridiculous Ric Flair white cutoff shirt, and I find it hilarious to go into the truck stop wearing like spandex pants and this cutoff white Ric Flair shirt.
Oh man, you must get some looks.
Especially in the South, people and like we're covered in makeup like from the show from earlier, and you got this Flair shirt on that says the Nature Boy.
And I hope you walk in and you do the strut and give them a big woo too.
It was like the Horseman walking in, yeah.
All right, last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you have play you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh, I'm so bad with actors. Will Ferrell. That's what it'd be. That'd be a good one. Will Ferrell with long hair and eyeliner on. Could you even imagine?
Well, I'm sure he'd be up for it.
Wearing a Ric Flair robe around stage. No shirt on.
I was going to say, with nothing else on underneath it.
Right.
Sam, has there been anything I didn't ask you in this interview? Anything you didn't get to mention, talk about? The floor is yours.
I think we really covered it all. I mean, you dug really deep, and I appreciate that. Like the Nebraska thing was really, really cool. Said that the album's going to be coming out. Keep your eyes open. We're going to be releasing a music video as soon as the mixing gets done, and the music video single will be out before the record. And we're just kind of hoping that all these shows go through. And much like the rest of the world, we don't know. Yeah,
it's all in such limbo right now. But we wish you good luck. Be safe. Stay healthy. Kick ass up there in Illinois this weekend, and we'll look forward to that album coming out. And hopefully, I get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lance. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Take care, Sam. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.